world by a group of people. One tribe cannot conjure me up. All of the tribes have to agree, because they don't know how I'm gonna behave when they conjure me up. And so they have to put me through cycles of training to temper my temperament so that I can have enough self-control to be useful. Otherwise, I'd be useless to the collective, and I'd be useful to some tyrants. Right?
So when you decided to do what you were doing, to take it on like you have, with your whole heart and soul into this, it was it back in 2008 when you came? Or because personally, I just discovered you this year. Video popped up and it was this year, and I was like, who is this man? And I said, he's a record keeper. Remember when I first? And so I tried to contact you, or I wanted to contact you, and then I said, I'm gonna interview him one day, and then you saw Grand Sheik and I doing a live in the park, and you reached out, and then I didn't believe it was you. But I'm just saying, I'm like, where'd he come from? But you didn't just start doing this, obviously. But no, when did folks start noticing you, that from your perspective, the way you're noticed now?
Over the last 3 years, mostly. But there were certain people in certain places who knew where I've been and what I've been doing since birth.
Okay.
They been getting reports every step of the way. When I make mistakes, I don't let other people pay for my mistakes. That was a rare quality. But none of them believed that I was ready, because they didn't realize
got you blocked. I mean, break it up again. And it could be your internet. Maybe it's the speed on your phone. Can you hear me? It'll be back there, y'all. Yeah, I know why. I know why. And you would think we were saying something wrong and something crazy, but what we're saying is true. What we're saying is empowerment, and that's the problem. You back, Rod? You were back. Can you hear me? Okay, he's going to come back in. I see where Paul Wright L wrote, why is it so important to free Larry Hoover, respectively, and why is he, sorry about that with the noise in the background, a big part of things. Can you explain? Well, he can explain when he comes back, but from what, if you've ever heard him speak on it, free Larry Hoover, he said, it's like a battle cry. It's not just, while there is importance about, okay, let him tell you. Brother Rod, there's a question that and I'm just going, even though we're talking about you, but can you explain this for those who've never heard you explain? Why is it so important to free Larry Hoover, respectively? Why is he a big part of things? Can you explain? Please explain.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. It's not just Larry Hoover.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's a battle cry, a rallying cry.
Right. So when we got the 7.4 earthquake in New Mexico, they asking me in a series of exchanges of what we call knocks to knockbacks. The Galactic Council asked me for my leader because of the work that they seen me doing. They want to know who it is that I'm up under, who is the leader of the clan that I'm in, because I made all of the successful moves to reclaim our inheritance from the enemies. So when they ask me who I follow, who is my leader, I have to give them my clan leader. I can't give them no politicians because they're not our real leaders. I can't give them none of those corporate big hats because they're not our real leaders either. I can't give them a celebrity. I have to give them somebody that's from the land organically, who walked the same path as me before me, who may not be who people want him to be, but he is who he is to us as a people. The same way the free Larry Hoover, it also equally applies to Assata Shakur, the one formerly known as H. Rat Brown, Malachi Z. York, Chief Malik Angel Bay, formerly known as Jeff Ford, Black Peace Stone Nation, Stan Tukey Williams, who we believed was put to death but was actually put in cryostasis at Area 51. The only person that I would accept that wasn't one of us, that was one of us, that was seen in the public uh, on a regular basis was Farrakhan. Because when I did the science to trace back who the matriarch was, I ended up with Mother Khadijah, using the rules of the land applied on the things that's operating on the land. I have to find the highest ranked matriarch in order to know how to restore our people. If we can't find her, then we don't know how to read the signs effectively enough to know the difference between the imposters on the land and our own people. Well, I clearly seen who she was. Farrakhan has the evidence and the verification proof, and he already presented it, and it's already been verified that all of the stuff that I said was accurate. So when they asked me for my leader, the only person I can give them, being that ever since I was, all of my cousins in my age group that I grew up with from in Chicago, I didn't live in these three cities is Grand Rapids, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, one spot and learn the culture. The culture is all across the land, but you have to be exposed for a period of time to be able to assimilate this piece. Also, in before I went to prison, I lived in Mississippi. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. I lived in Seaford, Delaware. I lived in Newark, New Jersey, New York, right? I had to traverse the land, and a lot of these trips from these places was by bus, Greyhound. So here I am riding a Greyhound across the land and surveying the land, right? And so these, to me, these are translatable signs that other people that's listening that know how to read signs can translate, right? And so when they ask why is Larry Hoover relevant to our struggle, is because he was taken from us, a leader that we picked on the land ourselves. The government didn't pick Larry Hoover for the people. The people picked Larry Hoover, and the government rejected him and rebelled against the choice of the people. The same with Chief Malik Angel Bay, right? And it's a whole list of leaders in our communities that was being picked by the people, that was ruthlessly hunted down by a government operation called COINTELPRO, right? COINTELPRO is short for Counterintelligence Program, and the goal was to stop anybody, one of us with the capability, which everybody I named was capable, but it's one problem. You can't be a bond servant and redeem the land. You can't be in prison and call yourself the chief because you're under somebody else's subjugation. That means you are in a foreign jurisdiction. You can't give orders if you're in a foreign jurisdiction on your own land. That means you've been conquered. So me being the next in line saying, hey, if we're going to do what's right, we're going to unilaterally do what's right. Or I don't want to do it. I don't want to do half of what's right or a piece of what's right. I want to do the whole thing, change the whole thing to correctness, or I don't want anything to do with it. Right? So it's not just free Larry Hoover. That's just the condensation of all our complaints. The adrenochrome harvesting, the women trafficking, the sex trafficking, the children, the kidnapping the children, the selling us in the open market using our birth certificates, trading bonds. All this has to stop in order for us to ever see true prosperity and a new golden age on earth. And because my give a fuck meter don't move, for lack of a better way of putting it, I don't care enough about the enemy's well-being to not take them off our land. Whereas some people become so familiar in associations with the enemy that they don't care to remove them from the land, from taking food out of our babies' mouths. You don't have to agree with me. I'm still gonna fight for you because the universal law say you got a right to believe whatever you want. You got a right to think whatever you want. Be you right or wrong, that's your right. I can't take that from you. That's inalienable. Because if you didn't have the right to think what you want to think, then your thoughts wouldn't be enclosed in your own self-head. They would be on public display at all times for the random person to come through and change them. But that's not the case. So you got a right to believe what you want to believe. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just going to tell the truth until everybody understands from frequency and vibration and verification of receipts. So don't believe me, check the receipt. Argue with the receipt, don't argue with me. That's my philosophy. The receipt's on the record. Been building up for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you know, and in the fullness of time or at the right time, that's when I came across you. I wasn't supposed to, I'm assuming, until now. And so it's a good thing. Have you ever, you mentioned the Galactic Federation. I received a call from a sister, and I was supposed to be reaching out to you. I'm sorry. I apologize, rather, to the sister who was a part. Have you ever heard of the Committee of 300?
Yeah.
So she
Committee of 300.
Yeah. So it's sort of, it's I believe, from what I got, it is sort of galactic in its origin, and she is a part of it. And so, she watches. I know she might have seen it, might be on here. I'm not sure. But, when she first reached out to me, it was like the committee is trying to figure out who you are. And she kind of wanted to have a conversation with you. But I was wondering if you were familiar with that.
Oh,
she was selected to be part of the Committee 300.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because I had some of the most prominent
Drop them in the chat, man. We're gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes worth of questions, man. I think it's right here with some heavy duty shit, man. You just gave me a whole bunch of shit. I could write a book on just what you put on what you gave me today. I could go do more research and put a book together called The Hologramic Reality.
I got some more to it. We ain't get to.
But do part 3. We'll do a part 3.
Okay.
Back free again. Let's see what they got. Hey, if you got any questions, drop them in the chat for the ride. Yeah.
So as you can see, the game of life is the game of the gods. The game of the gods is played in the holographic universe.
Yeah.
The holographic universe produces the earth realm.
Yeah.
The earth realm is where we experience light. The rules say we have to be synced to the earth and come in with amnesia and remember who we are. The little girl told you it was thousands of us around the world scattered out in order to raise the vibration and the frequency of the planet. So now remember, I was showing you on the solar storm how the UV rays interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field. This generates what's known as the Schumann resonance.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be restored to the Schumann resonance, which is the right resonance. So if you go to Google and you look up Schumann, it's going to show you the canopy of the sky over the Earth. Right? That's the right frequency, the A tone. So as we all make an atonement for the dirt we did, then it automatically re-attunes the Earth back to the A tone, which is the atonement of the Earthborn in the redemption process to recover Earth from those who can't stay here because they violated the cosmic law and created something known as the Great Debauchery. And in the process of cleaning up the Great Debauchery, we collected galactic points of suffering the motherfucking bottom of the barrel shit to build up something called pre-karma. Pre-karma is the points that we created by our suffering, being the firstborn or the earthborn, in order to see those who had less come into their own and be able to achieve more. So we passed the God gene to the God creation, because God created something they ain't had no business doing, because they didn't have the prime creator permission, nor did they have the permission of the Queen of Heaven and Earth. So now they come into our community to get their drop of blood, but they got to get it by any means necessary, even at the tip of the sword. So the Shriners come in 32 degrees Scottish Rite on the challenge, Fez versus Feathers, under George Washington Masonic order, to put us in the warlock. So now that we can't in the warlock, we can't access our coffers, we hold our wealth. But in order to break free from the warlock, one of us got to break free from the slumber, come up from under the sleep, build themselves as the perfected man, master of masters, the self-raised master. Hiram Abiff's rage, the motherfucking Masonic Lodge, all motherfucking lodges bump straight. And then 45 come in, because he come in off of ACP. Now that's a military firearm, right? Which is in modern times a Desert Eagle, but the Desert Eagle is a 50 cal. And a 50 cal will blow a hole in your ass big enough to walk through. If you think of bullshit, watch what the 45 do. Because the 45 will leave a hole in your ass and leave you leaking for days. So when the 45 land, that's the Desert Eagle on the return in the Air Force One off of a Raven Rock knock to a knockback, zigzag zig, all the chiefs across the land is rocking this bitch from motherfucking hand to hand. We done with the bullshit. Now it's time to unload a full clip on a Gangstar flip off of a guru. And the guru is a teacher. And the teacher is the master teacher on the Malachi York knock to a knockback off a speaker. And the speaker is Minister Farrakhan, who has Aaron in his name, but y'all didn't ever catch that because y'all don't know the code. Because the minister named him Farrakhan Muhammad, not Louis Farrakhan, but y'all can't get it right because he was the charmer. So he was so busy charming y'all, he ain't stopped y'all from calling him Louis. Because Louis the 14th was instrumental in the European rebellion, but y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all too busy trying to drink Louis the 15th wine, right? So now that we in the club and we hanging late night, motherfuckers doing these line dances, now we capture the conjure. We capture the conjure to send the energy back to Mother Earth that the old ones has returned. As Empress Verdiasi say, the ancient ones, the return of the ancient ones. And how you gonna know when the guys are standing before you? Because they're gonna experience a different lifestyle that's gonna allow them to show you how to shine in the public. By using exceptional brilliance and overwhelming intellect, they'll be able to connect the dots across the celebrity circles to the politician, bring out the dirty players and expose them motherfuckers for who they is, tell you what's going on behind the scenes without being behind the scenes, sitting here watching it play out, understanding the land and how to read the culture. Once you understand how to read the culture, then you know who the culture vultures really is. But the vulture is the condor, and the condor is fearless. He don't give a fuck. But he fucked around and stayed too long, and the eagles then came home. Now they wondering why the chickens is coming home to roost, because it's time to collect the bounty. Because when Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, none of the king's horses and none of the king's men could put poor Humpty back together again. That's pure wasted potential. But if you can figure out how to unscramble the scrambled eggs, all you need is a possibility, and I'm going to take the chance. Because if I can take the chance and we can all dance Mardi Gras across the land from motherfucking Maine to goddamn Arizona, from Alaska to Florida, zigzag zig, X marks the spot. We home now, motherfucker. We back for every fucking thing they owe. No longer oppressed. That's why we overthrow those that placed us in this rotten mess with their motherfucking dirty ass games that they was playing. We talking dirty Moors. We ain't talking righteous Moors. Because in the Feather versus the Feds, is the Bays win this bitch. Right? Because it was Bays versus the L's. Because the L's said they was lawgivers, and King George III instituted the Bar Association in 1863 in Savannah, Georgia. So we know who was behind the barristers the whole time, the black nobility, aka the goddamn white man that ain't even white, that look like us, but they ain't us. That's why they call us lichens, because we look like kin, but we ain't. We just wear the wolves. That's why they call us werewolves. But there's some blood sucking, adrenal cream drinking motherfuckers. But since we know who's who and what's what, it's time to shut this motherfucker up. So let's go to the audience and see if we got some questions, Elder.
Yeah, we got a question that said, well, let me see, damn, we got too many comments out there. He said, how can artificial supplements help the natural body?
So look, the artificial supplements is not necessarily from an artificial source. It's just that the source was refined in order to extract the part that you can supplement with, because the food is being grown using artificial means. So they have to extract supplements from other locations, sometimes toxic sources that you couldn't take in its free form, but they can get the vitamin or the mineral out and you can take it without having the negative side effect of consuming the toxin.
Uh-huh.
So the artificial supplement, keep in mind, it's not really artificial.
To me, that's really, when you look at how you're breaking everything down, there's really no such thing as artificial.
Well, it becomes artificial when you assemble it from scratch. So if I was to go in the lab